Hey guys, it's Divine here from merch.com with another merchant review for you all. Now first off, the Extreme God Wars dungeon. Pretty cool update if you ask me. We heard about it for the first time in the April behind the scenes, and I was quite surprised that the knowledge of that update led to almost no impact on the prices for most of the month until like the actual update was there. Yeah, this little post in the behind the scenes really said enough to know what to invest in, and I put up a reminder for myself to start investing later that month, which I did on the 24th April, as I knew on the 26th Jagex would release the behind the scenes video about it, where everything about the Extreme God Wars dungeon, or well, the instanced God Wars was explained. And this instanced part didn't really matter much, because there's really not enough PVMers anymore to really fill up all the worlds 24/7. It just saves a bit of time hopping, I guess, and nobody's going to crash you. But the extreme part was actually the most interesting part. Now, personally, I expected the extreme bosses to fill up some gaps in equipment, because Jagex said that they would be splitting up the armor in offensive, defensive, and hybrid. And I expected them to release the defensive equivalents of Bandos, Armadillo, and Subjugation here. And, you know, you didn't fight Ziliana in the World Wakes quest. Yeah, sorry, spoiler there, but I assume most people have done it by now. You didn't fight Ziliana there, so it made sense to me that they would be not be making an extreme version of her and just adding Bandos, Armadillo, and Zamorak there, so that they could release the defensive types of those armors. But that's not what happened. They only added those soul stones, I believe they're called, to the drop tables to get in the room quicker with your stored kills. And then the next week, the update and the post came out, and the post pretty much exactly repeated what Mod Chris L already explained in the video, so it had nothing new. Now, what I realized in the days between the behind the scenes video and the update was that a lot of people were actually investing in armor. Now, it's funny because most very high level players would likely be using the player-owned ports gear that they all should have by now for those extreme bosses, because if they're that extreme, they're going to hit you pretty hard. And also the fact that next gear is so cheap nowadays that most people already have all their sets, which also, of course means that there's going to be less demand for it. And I turned out to be right. Let's have a look at the Torval X right here. So this is the full graph since, let's see, 8th December. As you can see, a lot happened with like quite a lot of peaks and stuff and crashes. But what I'm more interested in is this last part right here. Yeah, I might as well. Yeah, you can see here the 140 mil. I better zoom in on this actually. So yeah, here you can see 30th April, like right before the update came out, they were around 130 mil here. And as soon as the update came out, down to like 106. And then back up to like 120, and then just all the way down. And like a very small recovery over the last few days. Now this is just simply because so many people invested in armor, and when the actual update came out, nobody really needed it anymore. But it still made a nice rise beforehand nonetheless. The next up, the Zarite Bow. This is a full graph as well, and you can see here they come from a pretty high price of like 190 all the way down here. And yeah, this is when when I started investing, so 73 mil. And over the next few days, they rose, like right before the behind the scenes video, they already made a small rise. Actually, I should probably, yeah, I should probably zoom in on this graph actually. So yeah, here you can see that they made like a crazy rise, an incredible rise. What I did is, so I stocked them at 73 mil, and then I held them for a couple of days, and then I ended up selling them off at 96 mil. Yes, at 96 mil, right before this massive rise right here. And the reason for that is not because I'm impatient and stupid. This was also like they rose after I went to bed anyways, but yeah, they rose 50 mil higher than I bought them for, or well, that I sold them for. I could have sold them at double my buy price, which is pretty insane. So I missed out on 1 bill profit in total, as I had 20. And the reason why I sold them is pretty simple, and that is because in behind the scenes for like 2013 that Jagex made last year in November, like the special edition, they said that, yeah, I'm just going to show you Virtus 1 here as well. They said that they would be creating a ranged Slayer dungeon in early 2013. Now the thing is, they didn't keep their word. The next day after this update, we would get the May behind the scenes, and I really expected that update to be in there. And it was also confirmed that this dungeon would be releasing the what's it called again? The level 90 ranged weapons. See here, yeah, you can see a pretty steep rise on Virtus ones as well. I had the same thing. I sold them before the rise because I expected that dungeon. But level 90 ranged weapons would mean that Zared bows would pretty much, like, they could lose over half their value or even more. So it was really risky to be holding those, so I decided to sell them off and be safe. I thought that they wouldn't really rise much anymore because I expected most people to know this, that the ranged Slayer dungeon was supposed to come out, but that didn't turn out to be quite true. So I lost out on massive amounts of profit there because Jagex didn't really keep their word. And yeah, the bows rose a lot, and the ones quite a bit as well. I missed out on like 400 mil on those, which is quite a pity. I did still make money. Yeah, Virtus book, another thing there, they didn't do anything at all. So I was like, I can buy these things out and make them go up and stuff. So I actually invested in a few on a few accounts. But then, like, I was so annoyed by the fact that Jagex didn't keep their word in the behind the scenes that I decided to just sell them off. And because I was like too annoyed with it. And when I'm annoyed, it's best that I don't merchant, because then I don't really think stuff through, and I'm just, yeah, annoyed. So some people have been asking why exactly I chose my investments. This is a table from Ars Wiki which lists all the bosses and their weaknesses. And you can already see it here. 2 of them are weak to magic. 1, well, Kriara you can only attack with ranged, and that leaves Bandos for melee. It's actually weak to crush, which is a bit strange. They don't list any weakness here. I guess that's a mistake. But that would mean Drygor maces, and I considered those, but lately there have been some complaints about Drygors not completely working the way they should, with the damage output and all that. So I decided to play it a bit safer there. Also because of the fact that if these bosses were going to be extreme, like a hard mode, then the the effect of using the right combat style would obviously be enhanced. You really don't want to use the wrong style against a really powerful boss that has a different weakness. So that is the reason why I invested in the Virtus ones and the Zared bows and not in Drygors. Also because Drygors usually get quite overhyped, and Zared bows and Virtus ones a bit more overlooked. And yeah, here are the screenshots of that. So the Zared bows made 230 mil on those per account, and the Virtus ones 63 mil per account. So in total, that's like around 580 mil. Like, I didn't buy or sell for much different prices on both of them. And yeah, it's quite a pity. I could have made a total of 1.4 billion more, which would be almost 2 bill profit. And I didn't. So yeah, that's not really motivational at all for me, but I'll just keep going and do my best. And yeah, here's one screenshot of those Virtus books that I mentioned. I managed to find this in one of my Grand Exchange histories still, so I could take a screenshot of it. Doesn't really matter, but yeah, that's a pity as well. And now on to the May behind the scenes part. Yeah, let's have a look here. So yeah, the first thing was the Nexus, which they mentioned. Like, when you start reading that, it seems like a lot of text, and then you see Lumbridge Swamp in there, and your heart sinks down into your shoes. And then you see low-level prayer 1 to level 40. Skip. God Emissaries. And this actually has something to do with the upcoming skill, which will be called Divination. That's actually confirmed right now, which will have something to do with the gods. We're not exactly sure what yet, but we know that's what it's going to be called, and it should have something to do with the gods. So you can follow these 8 NPC dudes to like follow a certain god that you want to, and as a reward you can get some XP improvements to your battle standard that you're going to get, some buffs, and a new level helmet, level 60 helmet with hybrid combat stats. Again, kind of low level, or not super interesting for any kind of investments. So we get to the farming part here for high level farmers, and this is actually relatively interesting. So they're going to add 10 new plans, and they describe about 3 in here, I believe. So one for, let's see, yeah, one for thieving, one for strength, and one for construction. And those grapevines that I mentioned here, those are probably the most interesting because you can make god-themed wines with them, and those can be used to enhance god-brewed potions, which is, I believe, the Gothic's Balance Potion, the Zamrock Brew, and the Saradomin Brew, of course. So who knows what interesting stuff is going to happen to those. And yeah, there's of course another 7 plants that we don't know anything about yet, which can add some interesting stuff too, but for those we really cannot invest anything because we do not know anything about those or what will be good for them. And then here you get the bonus XP tidy up thing. Bonus XP, bonus XP, bonus XP. It says a lot of bonus XP, I think. Who knows, it's going to be a bonus XP weekend. I would expect it this month, considering like the really lack of content. You got the Solomon thing I'm not even going to read, and then a RuneScape 5 beta. And then it's like, that's it for me. Enjoy the springtime sun, thanks. But there's really not much to play this month. Really not much to invest for, so that's quite a pity. So it wouldn't surprise me if they put out that bonus XP weekend this month, but then again, you don't really know what exactly they want to do, so don't take that for granted. I hope you all enjoyed this video. The reason why I added the May behind the scenes is because I thought maybe some of you are interested in my opinions about the behind the scenes. If you're interested, let me know in the comments and I'll be doing them from now on. Other than that, I hope you all enjoy this month, and we have a lot of content planned for you to put out, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Take care.